What's going on, family? It's your boy C-Mo the C Mitchell checking in with another Bird Bath ATL, and just really breaking news. As a lot of you might know by now or may not know, you will know now. It's James Pearce Jr. has just been arrested on Saturday down in Florida in a domestic dispute. And right now, all what we do know, and I'll just kind of stick to the facts. I don't want to get into too much speculation about which way that this can go. But he has aggravated, he has stalking. He has aggravated stalking charges on him. I'm sorry, man. This is just really bad for all parties involved right now. But at the moment, he has aggravated stalking. He has battery with a deadly weapon, one count of each, and he has fleeing or eluding police charges. And allegedly, he also ran his vehicle or crashed his vehicle trying to evade police. Now, there is footage of James Pearce Jr. also being arrested and being having to be detained, and it took about 4 or 5 officers to actually arrest him and put him in the cuffs. Now, this just days after being what some would say snubbed for the Defensive Player of the Year, he has this incident with his, at the time, girlfriend, or I guess now ex-girlfriend, Rickea Jackson, who plays in the WNBA out in LA. Now, she wasn't with him at the recent ceremony that there was for the crowning of the Defensive Rookie of the Year honors that he was up for. But right now, this is worse than the Ray Rice situation. This looks right now worse than the Henry, or as bad as the Henry Ruggs situation. Of course, there was a murder involved with that, vehicular homicide, but not quite as bad as something like Ray Caruth. But this is pretty unprecedented right now, and for all intents and purposes, I mean, we still have to wait to see what some of the details are. But again, this doesn't look good for anybody involved. And first and foremost, I definitely hope that young lady, Rickea Jackson, is okay. And this is terrible for James Pearce Jr. and of course for the Falcons as well too. Of course, that takes a back seat to all of that. I in no way, in any shape or form or fashion, condone any type of domestic violence toward women. I myself, this kind of hits home a little bit for me. I had my godmother was, murdered by her husband when I was in middle school, and staying right across the street from us. So this does hit home in a really weird way. But I do hope that we get some speedy justice about this. I hope this is not a long, drawn-out process, not just from a football standpoint. These are people's lives that are involved right now. And again, I won't speculate on what's happening. I want to wait until some of the full details factor in. But James Pearce Jr., just at 22 years old, after coming off a phenomenal season where he led the Falcons in sacks, and he led all rookies in sacks with 10.5, we do know that there were red flags around him when they were talking about drafting him. And at the point of time that they had the draft last year, 2025, we traded up for him, traded this year's draft pick to get him last year. And it looked like a good trade. It looked like a slam dunk trade for the Falcons. This was under Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot's tutelage. And who knows? I mean, they were recently fired. Maybe they were part of what was kind of keeping his head on straight. But it's just a very unfortunate span of events to have happened so far right now. There are more details that will have to continue to come out with this, but just a really sad state of affairs for everything. Now, there were red flags around him with saying that he had attitude issues and that he had some troubles, but I don't believe that anything along these lines had ever been speculated. And I don't think that anybody in the organization saw anything like this coming. I don't think anybody could have foresaw this. And even at this point in time, there's been a lot of tasteless jokes from people. I'm in a number of different sports groups. I talk with some fans of Saints and Buccaneers, and even on the Adam Schefter reporting for it, there have been jokes that I kind of find quite tasteless. There's a lot of clout chasing out here going around and about for this. And again, my heart goes out tremendously to their, Rakia Jackson and her family. Again, I hope that the details come out pretty soon. I hope that we get speedy justice with this. I hope that everybody involved gets the help and the healing that they need. But it doesn't look good for the Falcons. And in these type of situations, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't void the contract. Again, this is something that doesn't have a whole lot of precedence for it. The only other thing that I can remember where there was a domestic violence issue during the season or with an active player along anything somewhat close to something along these lines was with Greg Hardy a few years ago, back in 2014. He threw his then girlfriend, or a woman he was dating at the time, I believe it was his girlfriend, threw her on a bed of guns that they had in their bedroom, AK-47s and all that type of stuff, maybe some handguns or other things, and I don't want to misquote. But those charges were actually dismissed because she didn't show up for court on that. Now again, with this, we don't know all the full details. We don't know exactly what happened. Even in a situation like this, you would hope that a man would, have a cooler head and take a few clicks, step back, and not allow himself to be in a situation like this. So again, I want to reserve all judgment for seeing what actually happens about this. But right now, he's in the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Facility down in Florida, and we'll keep you guys posted and updated with the details as this continues to unfold a little bit more. But again, as he was fleeing officers, or fleeing the law, he actually crashed his car, or crashed his vehicle as well. Now, I also believe, reading the report, that he blocked her and stopped her from being able to leave the premises of where they were at as well, too. So, just at 22 years old, it looks like he's done quite a number on his career. And sadly, what's probably going to do him in worse than anything is the issues with the police. If I'm not mistaken, they said that he actually hit an officer as well, too, I believe, with his vehicle. I've seen different reports about that, and again, I don't want to get to speculating, but I'm just trying to give you guys as many details as I see with that. Now, the Falcons themselves, they did release a statement, which I did have for you guys, and I do want to bring that up for you. The Falcons said, "We are aware of an incident involving James Pearce Jr. in Miami. We are in the process of gathering more information and will not have any further comment on an open legal matter at this time." Now, from a PR perspective, the Falcons have to say this type of thing. But what we do know is that, again, this was a draft pick that happened under the regime of Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. So, legitimately, this new regime, Kevin Stefanski and Matt Ryan are not tied to him. They don't necessarily have any reason to have any specific loyalty to him. But again, this is something that we hope that all parties involved can get the help that they need and the proper healing that they need. And I'm anxious, just as anxious as you guys are, to get the details about this. Where this leaves the Falcons in terms of the roster management, again, is not a great situation. And again, I don't want to, football is not the most important thing in this situation. I want to first and foremost say that, and I want to just stress that to you guys and reiterate that. The football ramifications of this are not the most important thing in this situation. But we are a football show that breaks down analysis on the teams and lets you know the news of how this team is moving forward. And with the draft season coming up right now, the Falcons do not have a first-round draft pick this year. And we were sorely needing edge rushers. I think that this could definitely affect the way that they attack free agency for certain. I don't think that this is necessarily something that we're going to get a definitive answer on in the next month or so. There is a due process with all of this. And again, I do want to say that James Pearce Jr. in America, This isn't England where you are guilty until proven innocent. And the onus is on you as the defendant to prove your innocence. Here in America, you are supposedly innocent until proven guilty. So the law will have to show that he was guilty in this. But regardless of what the outcome is, I can imagine that the league will want to suspend him. I'm almost 100% certain that there will be that this violates some type of code in league policy. The NFL does not like its image being tarnished, and I hate to put it in those terms, but it's just the truth of the matter. The NFL doesn't take kindly to these type of things. The team could potentially suspend him. Arnold Ebiketie might become more of a keeper at this point in time. It was largely speculated by a lot of fans, a lot of insiders, that they were not going to re-sign Arnold Ebiketie. With the emergence of James Pearce Jr. And at this point, we're definitely going to be relying a lot more on Jalen Walker. He becomes that much more important of a staple on the edge for this team. We could also potentially see Leonard Floyd also come back and be re-signed again as well. He was on a one-year kind of prove-it deal, or just a one-year rental when we signed him in free agency last offseason. I think that his contract number was around $10 million. His numbers weren't great. I think that he had somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 sacks this year. But 10.5 sacks will definitely be missed. We do have Braylon Trice still on the roster, who has not played a single down in the NFL regular season at this point in time. And to be honest, we don't know that he will be able to play a down yet. He's been hurt for 2 years in a row with very similar injuries. So the Falcons are back to square one again, probably with needing another edge rusher again. Again, football isn't the most important thing in this situation. The roster isn't the most important thing in this type of situation. These are people's lives involved right here, but this is very much like the Henry Ruggs situation, where something like this, he could be potentially looking at real jail time. And I'm not a lawyer. I will do as much due diligence to find out more about this. We could easily see Mike Florio chiming in on this. You know, Mike Florio is a former lawyer, talks on a lot of legal matters with the league in his podcast and his show, especially when he's talking with Chris Sims over there on NBC. But stay tuned, guys. We will keep you guys updated on all the information as it continues to move forward. But this is probably the biggest Falcons news all year so far, and kind of overshadows a lot of what's happening with the Super Bowl just, hours away from being played tomorrow in less than 24 hours. So again, stay tuned, man. We will keep you guys updated. Just again, I can't stress enough how sad of a state of affairs that this is at the moment. And I do want to kind of go through a little bit more of this just to see if there's anything else. The local news down in Florida has requested his arrest report from the Dade County Police Department, but there is no other information immediately released right now. He has not even been given a bond yet at this moment right now. We're talking at like 3 a.m. on Sunday morning. So again, this just happened hours ago. I learned about this while I was out and about for the night, but again, the heart goes out to everybody involved. I hate to keep repeating that, but again, a sad, sad fair of things. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and stay tuned, man. I will keep you up to date with this. Peace.